Welcome to the Visual Manifestation Show with Pete Adams. I am Pete Adams. I'm your host, and I am very, very grateful that you are tuned in today to the Law of Attraction Radio Network or whatever platform you're listening to hear the amazing show today, because this one's going to be pretty crazy good. I know that for sure. And the title of today's show is called "Reality is Not What You Think It Is." It's going to be a very deep dive that's going to really stretch what you believe your belief system can handle. And without further ado, I do have a very special guest today on the show. Her name is Sherie Hollis, and she's an amazing person, and she's going to be on today's show, but essentially co-hosting. Sherie is a metaphysical intuitive healer life coach, a writer and an author who's deeply concerned with the affairs of humanity. She resides in New York. Her giftings are in the area of helping people to cultivate their gifts, talents, and abilities, helping them to discover and refine their life purpose. Sherie, welcome to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
Thank you, Peter.
Hey,
my pleasure.
All right, great to have you on. I'm thrilled. I know your background is super strong in this stuff, and you know it was great because it gave me the opportunity to have somebody on who rather than just listen to me every week, just babble. Have another expert guest on to share her great knowledge. So all you say is welcome again, and
Thank you.
Yeah, and so without any further ado, with the show being on reality, I want to start off with talking about some of the myths that 99.99% of the world believe about what reality is, and our human experience. And yeah, it's in the first myth I have to share with everyone is most people think that reality is something that is fixed and cannot be manipulated. And I know, Sherie, you got some thoughts on that one. So please take over the floor.
Well, it's legitimate when you think about it. When you think about looking at your outer reality, if you're going through stuff and things are just crashing on you and happening like that, like I have proof that this is the case. So that's what you usually govern your life on, or what you see on the outer. But you don't realize that there's something else going on, and that the universe really is malleable, and that we can bend it and yield it to how we want it to go.
That's great. Oh, sorry, Sherie. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Everyone thinks that reality is this fixed thing, and I get news for you guys. It's not. And and you've listened to the prior shows I put on. You can't create your reality. You can't change it. What you see today does not have to be your tomorrow. So don't think for an instant that things will not change and get better for you, because they will. And and the biggest thing is to stay positive, and that's the thing too. It's just like one of the tricks to making this stuff work is you got to believe in it. Okay, it's like you can't just say, "Oh, things are going to get better," and not do a darn thing about it. It's until you change, nothing else is going to change. Okay, the second myth I want to share with everyone is that the idea that we are physical beings living in a physical universe, and we have no control over our lives. Life happens to us, and we have no real control over our future. We kind of stepped into that one a little bit, but go ahead, Sherie. What would you like to share on that, if you don't mind?
Wow, it's like you said, I touched on it a bit there. It's like you have to see the circumstances of life, and you have to understand that it's all coming from the inside of you. And everyone doesn't live in the same world, so we don't share the same reality. Two people can go through the same circumstance, and come out with a different result based on how they're thinking. So it's all in your perception and how you're seeing things. And sometimes we're fooled by the outer circumstances of life. And there's a saying that says you can't be fooled by circumstances. You can't be fooled by the outer appearance of how things look. Because if you pay attention to that, and that's your gaze and your focus, that's what you're going to continue to perpetuate in your life. So it's kind of tricky. It takes practice.
Oh, it takes, it can't take years of practice, and I'm proof of that. That's for sure. That's I like what you said about appearances, and also about it's how you react to, it's how you respond to events. And that's a big one, Sherie, you touched on, because a lot of times what will happen is, and I've seen this in my life, not countless times, but enough to understand it. And that is, sometimes something will happen. There'll be an event in your life, and you might respond to it as being, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. How am I ever going to recover? Mm-hmm. Something like that. When the real truth behind it is that event had to happen to get you to the next place that was a better place for you. So the event is not happening to you at all. It's just how it looks. It's truly happening for you. You just don't know. You can't see what the next thing coming is, because you can only see what's right in front of you at the moment. And and I give a great example of this. I have a student, and I was an engineer, and he was working down in he was working on the city. He was actually working down in Washington, D.C. And he was from the Rocky Mountains. He was from Wyoming. And long story short, at one point he's just like, you know what? I love my job. I love the money. I just don't love living in Washington, D.C. He's like, he started visualizing. He's like, I would love to work remotely and work from Wyoming. This is back before all that illusion of the pandemic nonsense happened. And in short, he was visualizing this and working on it, and he's like, okay, I'm ready. So he went and talked to his boss. He said, is there any chance I could just work from remote from Wyoming? I love it out there. It's the same job. I can do it any place in the world. And his boss said, he said, no, he goes, you got to stay here. And my student was just like, that doesn't make any sense. So he thought about it, and he's like, you know what? I'm not really happy being in Washington, D.C., living in the city. And he's just like, my happiness is more important than any job. So this is what ended up happening for him. He ended up quitting his job. And he thought that, he's trying to figure out, what the hell am I going to do when the money runs out, kind of deal. Right. Well, long before the money ran out, about, I want to say it was 10 or 12 weeks later, his boss called him back. He said, hey, would you consider coming back to work for the company? I'll let you work from home. You can work from Wyoming. I don't care. We just got a lot of projects in. We need your help, and we need it big time. And he's like, and the guy's like, same salary, and nothing wrong with that. Same benefits. We'll make it like you never left the company. He's like, oh, okay. And it was just, it was amazing because, Sherie, it was a total leap of faith. Yeah. Listen to this one, everyone. It's like, sometimes you got to do what the most scary thing is to get what you want.
Oh yeah.
What you desire. So it just it was. And sometimes it's a test of your faith to see if you can walk the talk, kind of thing. And I'm not saying it's easy, guys, because
it's not easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have to step out of your comfort zone.
Oh, totally.
That's what makes it hard. We're so comfortable and having everything stay the same, but the only thing that's constant is change. So that's the only way we grow.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's like it's like we're natural creatures to grow, keep growing and expand, and not be limited, because it's like the status quo is overrated. I mean, it's like, if you want to just do the same thing for the rest of the time, if that makes you happy, I'm happy for you. But most of the people that listen to my show, they're looking for a change in their lives. So, guys, you need to be able to, to stretch, to, take that risk. I mean, I remember telling a story about when I left my job in corporate, and I'll never forget this, because it was, it was a good job, pretty, I didn't have to worry about not having a job. Let me put it that way. And I decided that, I wanted to go out on my own. And so I gave my notice, and that was kind of a little fear thing, because I'm like, well, what if something doesn't go the way I wanted to? And then I realized I was already living worst case scenario. I had a job I hated. I can tell you that. I just despised it. And I never forget, one of my coworkers said to me, he's like, Pete, what if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, I'll come back here and get my job back. I'm like, I'm already living worst case scenario. I'm like, so, and until I had that realization that I hadn't had before. Before that, it was just like, oh, this is scary, this is risky, blah, blah, blah. And, but then it was like, like an epiphany where it just came through. It's like, I'm already doing what I don't want. It's like, worst case scenario, I'll come back here and, have to, grovel a little bit. But fortunately for me, everything worked out, and I didn't have to come back to that. So all right, well, let's get on to the next myth I have. I want to ask you about, and that when you know what? I'm just a page of my from my printer. It must be on the other side. Oh, it is. I'm back. Okay, myth number 3. Our 5 senses tell us everything that we see, feel, taste, smell, and hear confirms that we are living in a completely physical experience. So that proves we are living in a physical fixed reality. Sherie, you want to take the lead on that one?
Well, it goes back to, I guess it all coincides with what we were saying earlier. It does look like it's fixed, but we don't realize that everything is an inside job. It happens from the inside first before it gets to the outside. So everything is built from the mind. And that's where it all starts. But behind that mind is intention. And intention is a force that creates things. It's like what you said earlier, Pete, about, you have these situations that happen in your life and you're like, wow, why is this going on? Why is this happening to me? But you don't understand that you had already intended something. You had already desired something. So because you have done that, you already set things in motion to bring all the cooperative components together so that you could accomplish your goal. But you don't know when adversity hits you that it's actually intention backing you to fulfill what you already had set in motion. So it kind of gets tricky a little bit. You got to pay attention, your awareness, and you have to understand there's something bigger going on behind the scenes.
Oh, that was great, Sherie. Yeah, one thing I want to add about that is what Sherie said about intention. And in one of the things that I've learned in my experience is that it's like intention is not a one-time thing. Attention is something like the power of focus, where you stay focused on what your intention is, and you think about what you desire, and you work on that internally. And then one of the things that you don't realize is the intention is, like Sherie said, it's backing you. It's making things happen for you. And most of us can't connect the dots until everything's already transpired, and then we can look back and say, "Wow, it was all made. It was all perfect. It all happened the way it should have happened." And I couldn't believe the way it happened. An example of that for me was, manifesting the vision house, which is in my book, Visualfestation. And it took, I was in that house for, visiting it in my visualization for years. And then through circumstance, I ended up opening a company with my wife down in Ecuador. we come back to Florida, and then we end up going to Colorado, and then we end up in the house that was on my vision board. So it's just like, stuff is happening. It's like, who could ever think in 1,000 years that the way to something of your dreams in the United States, you had to go through another country to get there. It's pretty, it's just wild, and it's like, and like you said too, Sherie, it's just, challenges show up. I mean, life is life is not meant to be some cakewalk. I mean, if all of us could just click our fingers and get anything we desired, we'd all be a bunch of lazy people doing nothing. There wouldn't be any growth, right, Sherie?
That's right. It comes in a lot of times when you're about to go to the next level or actualize what you desire. Sometimes it comes in unfortunate packages and disguises. So you're like, oh my God, I don't want this. But you don't know that that's the very thing that's going to bring you to the next level if you hang in there. And if you're patient and if you have some kind of faith, then it starts to take shape and it starts to form into what you desire. But there's a test there at first.
Oh yeah, no, that was said beautifully. There's a test there. And do you guys catch what Sherie said about faith? When things get the most squirrely or they seem most fearful, that's when you need to take your faith and turn up the dial. Otherwise, you just get caught up in the fear, and your faith dwindles, and basically the thing that was happening for you, now you pretty much slowed down that next step in your reality because you're kind of getting in the way and giving resistance because you're letting your faith slip a little bit. So one thing I want to share with all you guys, it's like, challenges are going to show up, and when they do, you need to just take your faith and double down, and don't get caught up in appearances. Things happening for you, like Sherie said, disguised as bad packages. Well, not necessarily at all.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome. Okay, all right, Sherie. Here's another myth I want to have you bust. Myth busters, we should call ourselves.
That sounds good, Peter. I like that.
All right, good. Okay. All right, here we go. Everything in our lives, such as our friends, our relationships, the amount of money we have or don't have, is a result of outside circumstances that happen to us. You want to rip that one apart, Sherie?
Oh man, wow. That's so easy to say that. When you look at people and you see their success, you're like, wow, okay, they were lucky or whatever like that. There is no luck. Everything happens because of a definite aim or direction that you're moving in, that you actualize based on what you have been working on and putting out there. So there are no chance encounters or no random acts. Because of what the person has put out there.
Right, absolutely. You get what you put out, and basically what happens is when the stuff that shows up in the outside, like Sherie said earlier, it comes from the inside. If you got some kind of a feeling of, I don't deserve this, or whatever, I don't, that's one of the things that's like, drives me a little bit crazy. I'm going to get off track here a little bit, but it's just like, having, instilling confidence in your kids to me is one of the most important things you can possibly do, because, if you tell your kids they're bad or whatever, they're going to have this lower self-esteem, and the end result of that when to become adults is they're gonna settle when they shouldn't settle. They're gonna take the relationship that it's a relationship which is better than no relationship. Well, all that does is just tie you down for a number of years till you figure out that you're not happy.
That's right.
And and that's the same thing with with health. And wow, it's like, if you say to yourself, it's like, X disease runs in my life, I'm going to get it. Well, I got news for you. You're going to get it. And it's not because it was some thing that was going to, you were doomed to have because genetics or whatever. It's your belief system. You know, if you start telling yourself, "Oh, this runs in my family, I'm going to get it." I mean, you could time your watch. Say, nobody in my family lives past the age of 58. Well, at 57 and a half, chances are you're going to check out because you bought into it.
That's right. I think we don't really realize how powerful we are, that our words are things and they have power to create.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and your words are just a reflection of really what's going on inside of you. You know, that negative self-talk. Well, you know, negative anything is just going to generate more negativity, negative events or consequences in your life. And the end result is you created it. You know, the universe does not have some kind of master plan to, you know, hinder your experience. You know, it's like, you know, oh, woe is me, you know, nonsense. It's like worrying and doing that kind of stuff. That's like praying for what you don't want to have happen in your experience.
Right.
You know? And I you know, I hate to say it, but, you know, most of the world, guys, has got this totally wrong. They've got it backwards, and you know, they're getting what they don't want, because what they're doing is they're focusing on what they don't want to have. Well, just like Sherie said it with intentions will back you. Well, you know, if you have negative intentions, they're just as powerful as positive intentions. Right. So, you know, so it's a two-way street. You know, it's like, if you don't want it, don't think it. You know, focus on.
I like that, Peter. Oh, that's like a T-shirt. If you don't like it, don't think it.
Oh yeah, maybe we'll get some T-shirts made, Sherie. You know, right. Yeah, I think that's a great one too. And here's another myth, Sherie. I want you to take out with a howitzer for me, and that is God's spirit, all it is, or whatever you want to call your higher self, resides somewhere in heaven or outside of us, and we're alone here and powerless. Crush that one, Sherie.
If that were the case, how is it that we are able to create? If this power lives outside of us, it's coming from the inside of us. It's all created from inside. So that right there is how you bust that up. Is an understanding that first and foremost is where's this power coming from? If God is outside of us.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the challenges that most people have, and is they've been raised to believe in something that's not true. Mm-hmm. And, you know, because the thing is, it's like, until you recognize the fact that you have the power, you can't use the power. It's like the power is not. It's like the power is not there, and it's almost. Okay. Quick analogy for everyone. Okay, let's say, you know, let's say for whatever reason you wake up one morning, and there's this luxury automobile in your garage, and you're like, what is that? And you know, it's like you do some research and you figure out it's a Ferrari. All right. Well, you never looked in the owner's manual because the car didn't come with one. So you're like, how do I start this thing? And then once you figure out that you can start it, you start and drive this thing with your mind. Then the car fires up and the motor of creation is engaged. But until you figured out how to start that car, because you didn't have a key, you didn't have the manual. It's kind of like life. You know, you need to just grow and have this learn and listen to great shows like this to figure out that it's like, wait a minute, these people are telling me the secret to changing my life. And that's just what we're doing. We just try. Sometimes we it's like, you know, Sherie and I, we talk a lot, and sometimes we go pretty far down the rabbit hole, but you know, we've been doing this stuff for a number of years. So what today sounds to me sounds really normal, Sherie, back 15, 20 years ago, this is this would be over my head. I'd be like, whoa, you know, that's too deep for me to understand, kind of thing. And well, then the truth is, you don't need to understand how it works. You just need to understand how to work it. That's it, because there's plenty of people who, they'll go to a mountaintop, meditate for whatever to manifest. It's just like, they didn't have to go to Tibet. They could have done it, in their hotel room in Memphis, So it's just like we all have this ability to create the life of our dreams. It's just like, number one, we don't believe it. And number two, we're not sure how to do it. And Sherie and I, we're going to, do some more shows, and we're going to share our knowledge with you, so that you can, you don't need to take the 15-year shortcut or long cut. You can go right to the chase and start, making your life change today. So with that, Sherie, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today, because it made it a lot easier for me when I just tried to do the shows by myself. And Sherie, I'd love to have you share with the audience some of the very unique skills that you have as far as part of your coaching and the healing services type deal.
Yes. Well, Peter, my focus is in helping people to take their purpose, identify what that purpose is, so that they could meet their destiny. So there's a couple of steps in between that, which involves me helping them to cultivate their gifts, their talents, their ideas, and their abilities, so that they can take it down from their head and bring it down to earth, so that they can give form to it and know how to reach that objective. So that's what I do in my coaching practices.
That's cool, because I know a lot of people out there, they know there's something that they're here to do, and they're just not sure what that is. And guys, that's what Sherie's here to help you figure out, because she's got a gift, and and if what you should be doing is maybe becoming an artist or whatever it is, something different than what you're doing, Sherie's going to help you define that objective, then get you on the road to manifesting that which you desire. Is that correct, Sherie?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So they can check out the website at purposemeetsdestiny.com.
Okay, guys. PurposeMeetsDestiny.com. I hope you guys will all stop by there, check out Sherie's website. If you have any questions, contact her. She's a super nice person, really easy to reach, and she'll help you. And we come to an end of another great show. And Sherie, now I know we talked about it, but I hope you're available like next week, because I want to continue this conversation for sure.
Absolutely, it would be my pleasure.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning into the Law of Attraction Radio Network, and I'm really grateful that you visit us and listen to the show today. And if you want to learn anything about me, just visit peterdadams.com, sign up for Tools for Your Success, and that will give you all my works for free, as audiobooks and regular books, PDFs, etc. And also I believe a number of Law of Attraction classics. So make sure you sign up for Tools for Your Success on my website. And remember, the life of your dreams is waiting on you. So take action and make it happen. Until next time, have an amazing week.